Building Better Selves Every Day, presented by VoxStories, the platform for audiobook creation and storytelling. This audiobook was brought to life through the dedication of creators, writers, and narrators who believe in the power of personal growth and the magic of sound. Every voice, every word, and every moment shared here was made possible by the collaborative spirit of the VoxStories community. Introduction. Every day presents us with a choice: to remain as we are, or to take even the smallest step toward becoming the person we aspire to be. That step might be subtle, a moment of reflection before speaking, a healthier choice at lunch, a commitment to finish what we start, or it might be bold and life-changing. But in either case, our daily actions shape our future selves far more than grand resolutions made once a year. The truth is, self-improvement isn't reserved for extraordinary people, nor does it require rare talent or perfect circumstances. It's a practice available to anyone willing to pay attention, make intentional choices, and keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow. The real transformation happens not in sudden bursts of effort, but in the quiet accumulation of small victories, in the habits we cultivate, and in the mindset we nurture over time. This book is about building better selves, plural, because growth isn't linear, and it doesn't produce just one final version of you. Life will ask you to evolve again and again. As your goals change, your relationships deepen or shift, and your environment challenges you in new ways, you'll find yourself called to grow into different versions of yourself. Each chapter will help you do exactly that. Understand where you are now, clarify where you want to go, and equip you with tools to bridge that gap in ways that are sustainable and authentic. You'll explore how to uncover the beliefs that drive your actions, set goals that truly stick, create habits that serve you rather than sabotage you, manage your time and energy with purpose, navigate challenges with resilience, and nurture relationships that encourage your growth. Along the way, you'll learn to align your choices with your values, so that each day feels like a deliberate step toward a life that reflects who you really are. This is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about learning to see every day as an opportunity to invest in yourself, no matter how busy or uncertain life feels. And it's about embracing the idea that self-improvement is not a destination, but a lifelong journey worth taking. By the time you reach the end of this book, you'll be equipped not just with strategies, but with the confidence and clarity to keep becoming better day after day, year after year. So let's begin. The next version of you is waiting. Chapter 1. Understanding the foundation of self-improvement. Self-improvement begins with understanding what it truly means, not as a vague idea of being better, but as a conscious, ongoing commitment to growth that is rooted in self-awareness and guided by purpose. It is the deliberate act of examining where you are, deciding where you want to be, and choosing aligned actions that move you forward. Without a clear foundation, even the best intentions can drift into aimless effort or unsustainable bursts of motivation. At its core, self-improvement is not about chasing perfection or comparing yourself to others. It's about cultivating the mindset that you are capable of change, worthy of growth, and responsible for the life you create. This mindset shapes every decision, every habit, and every interaction. It is the lens through which you interpret challenges and the fuel that keeps you moving when progress feels slow. One of the most important steps in building this foundation is identifying your personal motivations. Ask yourself, why do I want to grow? What am I hoping to experience, achieve, or become? These questions uncover the deeper drivers behind your actions. When your motivation is connected to your values such as freedom, connection, creativity, or contribution, it becomes more resilient than goals based solely on external approval or fleeting desires. A clear why turns effort into purpose. Equally important is recognizing the barriers that stand in your way. Often, these are not external obstacles, but internal patterns. Limiting beliefs that tell you change is impossible, fears that keep you within your comfort zone, and habits that undermine your progress. Limiting beliefs might sound like "I'm not disciplined enough" or "I always fail at this," and over time they shape your behavior to match the story you've accepted. By becoming aware of these narratives, you can challenge them, reframe them, and replace them with empowering truths. Self-sabotaging habits also deserve honest examination. These can range from procrastination and overcommitment to neglecting rest and self-care. Sometimes, these habits mask deeper issues, avoiding discomfort, seeking instant gratification, or fearing success because it demands change. Awareness is the first step toward breaking them. Intentional action is the second. The foundation of self-improvement rests on the understanding that change happens from the inside out. You cannot simply layer new behaviors over an unchanged mindset and expect lasting results. Your thoughts influence your emotions influence your actions, and your actions create your reality. By nurturing a mindset of growth, believing your abilities can be developed through effort and learning, you open yourself to possibilities you might have once dismissed. It's also essential to accept that growth is not linear. Progress will include forward strides, plateaus, and even setbacks. Each stage offers an opportunity to learn rather than a reason to give up. Resilience comes from viewing challenges as part of the journey instead of signs that the journey isn't worth taking. When you understand why you want to grow, identify what holds you back, and commit to shaping a mindset that supports change, you lay a strong foundation for every step that follows. From this place of clarity, each choice, no matter how small, becomes a deliberate investment in your future self. And with each day's effort, you build not just a better version of yourself, but the confidence that you can continue evolving for a lifetime. Chapter 2. The Power of Self-Awareness. Self-awareness is the quiet but powerful practice of seeing yourself clearly, your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, strengths, and blind spots without distortion or denial. It is the ability to observe what is happening inside you and around you with honesty, curiosity, and compassion. When you cultivate self-awareness, you gain the capacity to make intentional choices rather than reacting automatically to circumstances or emotions. It becomes the lens through which you understand why you do what you do, and more importantly, how you can change it. Most people move through life operating on autopilot, guided by habits, assumptions, and unexamined beliefs. We repeat patterns in our relationships, in our work, and in how we care for ourselves, often without realizing that these patterns shape our reality. Self-awareness interrupts this autopilot mode. It allows you to pause and ask, is this serving me? Is this aligned with who I want to be? That pause is where transformation begins. One of the most effective ways to develop self-awareness is through reflective practices such as journaling. Writing down your thoughts and experiences helps you slow down enough to see the connections between events, emotions, and actions. Over time, you begin to notice recurring themes, certain situations that trigger frustration or joy, habits that bring you closer to your goals or pull you away from them, and beliefs that either empower or limit you. This process turns vague feelings into clear insights. Another powerful tool is mindfulness, the act of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. Mindfulness trains you to observe your thoughts and emotions as they arise, rather than being swept away by them. When you notice that your heart races during conflict, or that your mood shifts after certain conversations, you gain valuable data about your emotional triggers. Recognizing these triggers doesn't mean avoiding them. It means approaching them with awareness so you can choose your response instead of defaulting to old reactions. Feedback from others also plays a vital role in self-awareness. While it can be uncomfortable to hear how we are perceived, constructive feedback offers perspectives we cannot access alone. Ask trusted friends, mentors, or colleagues how they experience you, your strengths, your challenges, and the impact of your actions. Listen openly, without rushing to explain or defend yourself. Even if you disagree with some points, consider what might be true in their observations and how those truths can guide your growth. Self-awareness is not about constant self-criticism or obsessing over flaws. It is about seeing both your light and your shadows clearly enough to work with them intentionally. When you understand your strengths, you can lean into them with confidence. When you see your weaknesses honestly, you can address them without shame. This balanced view fosters resilience because it keeps you grounded in reality while still open to possibility. As your self-awareness deepens, you begin to make choices that align more closely with your values and vision for yourself. You stop chasing goals that were never truly yours and start investing in actions that feel authentic. You notice when fear is guiding your decisions and learn how to let courage take its place. You catch yourself repeating old patterns before they spiral out of control. And each time you do, you reclaim a little more agency over your life. The power of self-awareness lies in its ability to transform not just what you do, but how you experience life. It turns challenges into opportunities to learn more about yourself. It makes relationships richer because you communicate with clarity and listen with empathy. It fuels personal growth because every insight becomes a stepping stone toward becoming the person you aspire to be. The more you practice it, the more it becomes a way of living a daily habit of paying attention to the truth of who you are and making choices that honor that truth. Chapter 3. Setting Goals That Stick. Setting goals is one of the most powerful ways to turn intention into action. Yet it's also one of the most misunderstood parts of self-improvement. Many people set goals with excitement and clarity, only to see that motivation fade weeks or even days later. The problem isn't that they lack willpower, it's that the goals themselves often aren't built to last. To create goals that truly stick, you have to move beyond vague aspirations and ground them in meaning, structure, and adaptability. A goal that sticks begins with alignment. Before deciding what you want to achieve, ask yourself why you want it. Too often, goals are borrowed from societal expectations or driven by comparison, wanting to lose weight because everyone around you is doing it, or chasing a promotion because it seems like the next logical step. But goals that don't align with your values rarely sustain your energy. When the initial excitement fades, only genuine purpose keeps you moving forward. If health, creativity, freedom, or contribution are your core values, your goals should reflect and serve those values directly. This alignment transforms effort into fulfillment rather than obligation. Once your goals are rooted in meaning, the next step is clarity. Vague goals like be more productive or get in shape sound inspiring but lack direction. Clarity turns aspiration into a roadmap. Define exactly what success looks like, what actions, milestones, or outcomes will show you're on track. Frameworks like SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, can provide helpful structure, but they're only effective when infused with personal purpose. Run 3 times a week for the next 3 months to improve my energy and mental clarity is far more powerful than exercise more. It gives you something tangible to measure and a reason that matters. Another key distinction is between outcome goals and process goals. Outcome goals focus on the result: losing 10 pounds, saving a certain amount of money, finishing a project. Process goals focus on the actions that lead there: preparing healthy meals, tracking expenses weekly, writing for 30 minutes a day. While outcomes give you direction, processes build consistency. The most sustainable goals balance both. You know where you're headed, but your attention stays on what you can control today. When you focus on the process, progress becomes a daily habit rather than a distant reward. Equally important is designing your goals to work with your life, not against it. Unrealistic goals are often disguised as ambitious ones, but ambition without adaptability leads to burnout. Instead of setting massive leaps, think in terms of progressive goals, small, incremental steps that compound over time. Each small win builds momentum and confidence, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of success. If your goal is to read more, start with 10 minutes a day. If your goal is to build a business, begin by dedicating 1 focused hour each evening. Small, consistent actions have a way of expanding naturally once they become part of your rhythm. Accountability also plays a crucial role in making goals stick. When you track your progress and share your intentions with others, you add both structure and support to your journey. This doesn't mean broadcasting your every move. It means building systems that remind you of your commitment. Journaling, checklists, or progress trackers can turn abstract goals into visible evidence of growth. Sharing updates with a friend, mentor, or community can also keep you motivated, especially when enthusiasm wanes. Accountability transforms discipline from a burden into a shared sense of purpose. Even with the best planning, Obstacles will appear: unexpected challenges, slow progress, or shifting priorities. The key is flexibility, not perfection. A goal that sticks isn't rigid. It evolves as you do. When life changes, your goals should reflect those changes rather than resisting them. If your original plan no longer fits, adjust it without guilt. Reassess your why, realign your actions, and keep moving forward. Adaptation is not failure. It's evidence that you're staying engaged with your growth instead of abandoning it. It's also vital to celebrate progress along the way. Many people only reward themselves when they reach the finish line, but that approach overlooks the countless steps it took to get there. Recognizing small victories reinforces your belief in your ability to follow through. Each checkmark, each completed action, is proof that you're capable of consistency. Celebration doesn't have to mean extravagance. It can be as simple as pausing to appreciate your effort or reflecting on how far you've come. Gratitude fuels perseverance. Finally, remember that setting goals is not about controlling every detail of your life. It's about directing your energy toward what matters most. Goals that stick are those that grow with you, goals that challenge you without overwhelming you, that inspire you without detaching you from reality. They are less about achieving perfection and more about living with intention day by day. When your goals are anchored in your values, structured with clarity, supported by process, and open to adaptation, they become more than checklists. They become commitments to your future self. Each one is a promise that you're willing to keep showing up, even when progress feels slow. And in that steady showing up, you build not only results but resilience, confidence, and a deep trust in your own ability to create change that lasts. Chapter 4. Building Positive Habits and Breaking Bad Ones. Habits are the invisible architecture of our daily lives. They shape what we do without demanding constant decision-making, freeing our mental energy for more complex tasks. Yet this same efficiency can work against us if the habits we've built are undermining our goals. They can quietly keep us stuck in patterns we no longer want. The key to lasting change lies in understanding how habits are formed, how they can be reshaped, and how to replace harmful routines with empowering ones. Every habit follows a simple loop: cue, routine, reward. The cue is the trigger, an event, feeling, or environment that prompts the behavior. The routine is the action itself. The reward is the benefit your brain associates with the action, which reinforces the habit. For example, feeling stressed cue might lead you to scroll through social media routine because it temporarily distracts you. Reward. Understanding this loop allows you to dissect any habit and identify where change is possible. To build new habits, start by anchoring them to cues that already exist in your life. This approach, often called habit stacking, pairs a desired behavior with something you already do consistently. If you want to start meditating, you might do it immediately after brushing your teeth in the morning. The existing habit becomes a natural trigger for the new one, making it easier to remember and integrate into your routine. Over time, repetition strengthens the association until it becomes automatic. Environment plays a crucial role in habit formation. Our surroundings often dictate our behavior more than sheer willpower does. If you want to eat healthier, keeping nutritious food visible and easily accessible makes it more likely you'll choose it over less healthy options. Conversely, if you want to break a bad habit, make it harder to access, remove tempting snacks from your kitchen, log out of distracting apps, or keep your television remote in another room. By designing your environment to support your goals, you reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for harmful ones. When breaking bad habits, it's important to recognize that simply removing the routine often leaves a void. Habits exist because they meet a need, whether physical, emotional, or psychological. If you eliminate a behavior without replacing it with something that fulfills that same need in a healthier way, you're more likely to relapse. For example, if stress drives you to late-night snacking, replacing that routine with deep breathing or journaling preserves the comfort or release you were seeking without sabotaging your health. Small changes are more sustainable than drastic ones. Ambition tempts us to overhaul our lives overnight, but radical change often collapses under its own weight. Instead, focus on micro habits, tiny actions that require little effort, yet build momentum over time. Reading a single page each night can grow into a reading habit. Doing 5 minutes of exercise can evolve into a daily workout routine. These small wins accumulate, reinforcing your identity as someone who follows through. Identity-based habits are especially powerful because they shift your focus from what you want to achieve to who you want to become. Instead of saying, "I want to run 3 times a week," say, "I am a runner." This subtle shift changes how you view your actions. They become expressions of who you are rather than chores you must complete. When your habits align with your identity, maintaining them feels natural rather than forced. Expect setbacks along the way. Breaking ingrained habits or building new ones is rarely a straight path. Missed days and moments of weakness will happen. The difference between success and failure is not perfection, it's persistence. Missing one day does not erase your progress unless you let it turn into missing many days. Have a plan for restarting quickly without guilt, focusing on the next step rather than the slip. Accountability can accelerate habit change. Sharing your intentions with a trusted friend or joining a community pursuing similar goals adds external motivation and support. Tracking your progress visually through journals, apps, or checklists provides tangible evidence of improvement and keeps your commitment visible. These systems remind you why you started and encourage you when motivation fades. Over time, positive habits compound like interest in an investment account. Their benefits grow exponentially as they become deeply embedded in your life. Likewise, breaking bad habits frees energy and focus that can be redirected toward what truly matters. By consciously shaping your cues, routines, and rewards, designing your environment for success, and aligning your habits with your identity, you create a lifestyle that supports continuous growth. The process is not about rigid discipline, but about crafting rhythms that make the best choices feel effortless. When good habits become second nature and harmful ones fade away, self-improvement shifts from something you struggle to maintain to something that happens almost automatically. And in those quiet, consistent actions lies the real power to transform who you are day after day. Chapter 5. Managing Time and Energy Effectively. Time is one of the few resources we can never replenish, yet many of us treat it as though it's infinite. We fill our days with obligations, distractions, and noise, leaving little room for what truly matters. But managing time effectively is not about squeezing more tasks into every hour. It's about aligning your time with your priorities, protecting your focus, and honoring your energy so you can show up fully for the things that matter most. Effective time management begins with clarity. Before you can organize your schedule, you must understand what deserves space in it. Many people confuse being busy with being productive, but busyness often masks a lack of direction. Productivity, in contrast, means doing the right things at the right time for the right reasons. Take a moment to ask yourself, what activities genuinely move me toward my goals? What drains my time without adding real value? The answers to these questions become your compass for how you choose to spend your days. Once your priorities are clear, the next step is to plan with intention. Start each week by identifying your top 3 priorities, those tasks or projects that will have the greatest impact on your goals or well-being. Break them into smaller, actionable steps and schedule them first. This ensures that your most meaningful work doesn't get buried beneath minor errands or endless emails. Treat these priorities as non-negotiable appointments with yourself. When you give your time structure and purpose, you create the conditions for progress. One of the most powerful tools for managing time is learning to say no. Every yes you give to something unimportant is a no to something that truly matters. Boundaries are not barriers, they are filters that protect your focus and energy. Practice declining requests that don't align with your values or current goals, and do so without guilt. You are not obligated to fill every gap in your schedule or please every person who asks for your time. Prioritizing yourself is not selfish. It's essential for sustainable growth. Equally important is recognizing that managing time effectively is inseparable from managing energy. You might plan your day perfectly, but if you're exhausted or emotionally depleted, even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Energy management means understanding and honoring your personal rhythms when your mind is sharpest, when you need rest, and how different activities affect your mood and motivation. Some people are most creative in the early morning. Others find their flow late at night. Whenever possible, align demanding tasks with your peak energy periods and reserve lower energy times for administrative or routine work. Your physical well-being directly influences the quality of your energy. Sleep, nutrition, movement, and hydration form the foundation of sustained productivity. It's tempting to sacrifice rest for more hours of work, but chronic exhaustion diminishes clarity, creativity, and emotional regulation. Instead of glorifying busyness, start valuing recovery as part of your success strategy. A well-rested mind can accomplish in one focused hour what a fatigued one struggles to complete in 3. Besides physical energy, mental and emotional energy deserve equal attention. Constant multitasking fragments your attention and drains your cognitive resources. Studies show that switching between tasks can reduce efficiency and increase stress. Try focusing on one task at a time. Set a timer for 25 or 50 minutes of deep work, then take a short break to recharge. This approach not only enhances concentration, but also helps you build momentum through consistent progress. Emotional energy is influenced by the environments and relationships you engage with daily. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, rather than those who drain your spirit. Limit exposure to unnecessary negativity, whether it's through social media, gossip, or self-criticism. Protecting your emotional space allows you to approach challenges with patience and clarity instead of frustration or burnout. Another essential aspect of time and energy management is learning to work with, not against, your natural cycles. Just as seasons change, our motivation and focus ebb and flow throughout the day and across weeks or months. Rather than resisting these fluctuations, acknowledge them. Use high motivation periods for creative or strategic work and slower times for reflection, organization, or rest. This rhythm-based approach helps you maintain balance without feeling guilty for needing downtime. Technology can either be a tool for efficiency or a trap for distraction. Use it intentionally. Set boundaries around email and social media use. Turn off non-essential notifications and designate specific times to check messages. Digital clutter can be as draining as physical clutter, scattering your attention and creating a sense of urgency where none exists. Simplifying your digital environment helps you reclaim mental space and focus. To truly manage your time and energy effectively, you must also make peace with imperfection. Some days will not go as planned. Unexpected demands will arise. Energy will fluctuate, and progress will feel slow. Flexibility is not a weakness, it's a strength. When plans shift, adapt rather than abandon them. Ask yourself what can still be done today, even if it's smaller than originally intended. Consistency in small actions often outweighs sporadic bursts of intensity. Finally, remember that how you spend your time is ultimately how you spend your life. Every choice to rest or rush, to connect or withdraw, to create or consume, shapes the rhythm of your days and the quality of your experiences. The goal is not to fill every minute, but to fill each one with intention. When you align your schedule with your values and manage your energy with care, you move through life with greater presence, purpose, and peace. Time management is not just a strategy, it's a form of self-respect. Energy management is not indulgence, it's wisdom. Together, they allow you to live not by default, but by design. And when you master both, you stop chasing time and start creating it, turning each day into a deliberate expression of who you choose to be. Chapter 6. Cultivating Emotional Intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the skill of understanding, managing, and effectively using emotions, both your own and those of others, to navigate life with clarity, empathy, and purpose. It's not about suppressing feelings or becoming overly analytical. It's about integrating emotional awareness into your decisions, relationships, and actions so that you can respond rather than react. When you cultivate emotional intelligence, you build the capacity to handle conflict with composure, communicate with authenticity, and create deeper connections that enrich your life. At its core, emotional intelligence consists of 4 interconnected components: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. Self-awareness means recognizing what you're feeling in the moment and understanding how those feelings influence your behavior. It's catching the subtle frustration before it leaks into your tone, or recognizing the joy that fuels your motivation. Without self-awareness, emotions can drive you blindly. With it, they become valuable data points guiding your choices. Self-management is the ability to regulate your emotions and impulses in ways that align with your values and goals. It's not about denying anger or fear, it's about channeling them constructively. This might mean pausing before responding to criticism, reframing anxiety as anticipation before a big presentation, or choosing patience over irritation in a tense conversation. Self-management transforms emotional energy into intentional action. Social awareness is the skill of perceiving and understanding the emotions of others. It requires empathy, the ability to step into someone else's perspective without losing sight of your own, and attentiveness to nonverbal cues like body language, tone, and pacing. When you notice a colleague's hesitation during a meeting or a friend's subtle withdrawal in conversation, you gain insight into their internal state and can respond with sensitivity rather than assumption. Relationship management is where emotional intelligence becomes a catalyst for connection. It's the ability to communicate clearly, resolve conflicts respectfully, and inspire trust over time. This means listening as much as speaking, honoring boundaries, and addressing misunderstandings without defensiveness. Strong relationships aren't built on avoiding tension, they grow through navigating it with honesty and care. Developing emotional intelligence begins with slowing down enough to notice your emotions in real time. Practice pausing during moments of intensity to ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? How is this influencing my behavior right now? This self-inquiry creates space between stimulus and response space, in which you can choose a more constructive path. Equally important is learning to name your emotions accurately. Vague labels like bad or upset limit your ability to work with feelings effectively. Instead, aim for precision. Are you disappointed, irritated, overwhelmed, or anxious? Each emotion carries different causes and requires different strategies for resolution. Naming emotions clearly strengthens both self-awareness and communication because it helps others understand your experience more fully. To enhance empathy, make a habit of listening with presence. Resist the urge to mentally rehearse your reply while someone is speaking. Instead, focus entirely on their words, tone, and body language. Reflect back what you've heard to ensure understanding. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated because this not only validates their emotions, but also invites deeper dialogue. Managing conflict through emotional intelligence involves shifting from a combative mindset to a collaborative one. When disagreements arise, focus on shared goals rather than winning the argument. Keep your language respectful and centered on issues instead of personal attacks. If tension escalates, take a break to cool down before continuing. Emotional regulation protects relationships from unnecessary damage. Another powerful practice is cultivating emotional resilience, the ability to recover quickly from setbacks without being consumed by frustration or defeat. This comes from reframing challenges as opportunities for growth, seeking constructive feedback instead of avoiding it, and maintaining perspective during difficult times. Resilience allows you to engage with life's ups and downs without losing balance. Over time, emotional intelligence becomes less about isolated skills and more about a way of being. You begin to see emotions not as obstacles, but as guides, signals pointing toward what matters most. You respond to criticism with curiosity instead of defensiveness. You give others the gift of feeling seen and heard. You navigate uncertainty with steadiness because you trust both your emotional insight and your ability to act wisely. When you invest in cultivating emotional intelligence, you strengthen every area of your life. Your relationships become richer, your communication more impactful, your decisions more thoughtful. You stop being ruled by fleeting moods and start leading yourself and others with intention. And in doing so, you create not just better outcomes, but a deeper sense of connection, meaning, and trust in every interaction. Chapter 7. Building Resilience Through Challenges. Resilience is not the absence of hardship. It is the ability to move through it, to adapt, and to grow stronger because of it. Life will inevitably test you with moments that feel overwhelming, unfair, or deeply discouraging. These moments can either leave you feeling defeated or become the very experiences that shape your strength, character, and perspective. Resilience is the skill that tips the balance toward growth rather than collapse. Challenges have a way of exposing what we truly believe about ourselves and the world. When things go wrong, do you see it as evidence that you are incapable, or as an opportunity to learn something new? This is where a growth mindset becomes essential. A growth mindset doesn't pretend that difficulty isn't painful. It acknowledges the pain while believing in your capacity to learn, adapt, and recover. It reframes failure as feedback, seeing each setback as information about what needs to change rather than a verdict on your worth. One of the most powerful ways to build resilience is to focus on what you can control. In the midst of a challenge, it's easy to fixate on what's unfair, unpredictable, or irreversible. But resilience grows when you shift your attention to the actions and choices still available to you. You may not control the storm, but you can adjust your sails. You can decide how to respond, how to care for yourself, and how to keep moving forward one step at a time. Resilience also depends on maintaining perspective. In the thick of hardship, it's easy to believe that the current moment defines your entire life. But most challenges are chapters, not the whole story. Pausing to remember other difficulties you've overcome can restore confidence that you'll find your way through this one as well. Perspective allows you to zoom out, seeing that even though today is hard, it will not always be this way. Stress management plays a key role in how well you adapt under pressure. When your body and mind are in a constant state of tension, small problems feel insurmountable. Practices such as mindfulness, deep breathing, journaling, or simply taking a walk can calm your nervous system enough for you to think clearly and act intentionally. These moments of pause are not indulgences. They are essential tools for maintaining clarity and stability in the face of uncertainty. Another cornerstone of resilience is connection. Challenges often tempt us to isolate ourselves out of shame or pride, but support from others can provide strength we didn't realize we had. Whether it's a friend who listens without judgment, a mentor who offers perspective, or a community that reminds you you're not alone, connection helps carry the weight when it feels too heavy to bear alone. Asking for help is not weakness, it's a recognition that we are built to endure together. Resilience also flourishes when you anchor yourself in a sense of meaning. When you know why something matters to you, whether it's protecting your family, living out your values, or pursuing a vision for your future, you gain an inner force that helps you withstand difficulty. Meaning transforms suffering from something senseless into something purposeful, even if that purpose is simply to emerge wiser and more compassionate on the other side. It's important to remember that resilience doesn't mean pushing through endlessly without rest. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is pause, recover, and tend to your well-being before continuing forward. Resilience is about sustainability enduring, in a way that allows you not just to survive challenges, but to rebuild stronger after them. Over time, each challenge you face becomes part of your resilience toolkit. You learn that you can survive disappointment, adapt to change, and navigate uncertainty with more steadiness than before. You develop trust in yourself, not because life gets easier, but because you know you can handle it when it's hard. Resilience is built in moments both big and small, in choosing to try again after a setback, in asking for support when you need it, in finding one small thing to be grateful for in the middle of difficulty. Every time you meet a challenge with persistence instead of surrender, perspective instead of despair, and growth instead of stagnation, you strengthen the part of yourself that can weather whatever comes next. The truth is, challenges will never stop coming, but neither will your capacity to adapt and rise above them. Each test becomes an invitation, not just to endure, but to emerge with greater wisdom, deeper empathy, and unshakable belief in your own strength. Chapter 8. Nurturing relationships that support growth. Human beings are wired for connection. Our relationships shape the way we see ourselves, influence our choices, and either propel or hinder our personal growth. The people we surround ourselves with form the emotional and psychological environment in which we live every day. When those connections are supportive, they can help us stretch beyond our comfort zones, stay accountable to our goals, and become more resilient in times of challenge. But when they are toxic, draining, or rooted in fear, they can quietly pull us away from the person we are trying to become. Nurturing relationships that support growth begins with becoming intentional about who and what we allow into our lives. The first step is awareness, recognizing the impact that each relationship has on your well-being and development. Some connections leave you feeling energized, inspired, and understood. Others may leave you tense, defensive, or diminished. Pay attention to these patterns. Your emotional responses are data. Ask yourself, do I feel safe being myself with this person? Do they encourage my growth or resist it? Do I leave our interactions feeling uplifted or depleted? These questions reveal whether a relationship is aligned with your path forward or tethered to an outdated version of you. Healthy, growth-oriented relationships share a few key traits. They are built on mutual respect, honesty, and trust. In them, both people can express themselves authentically without fear of judgment or manipulation. Boundaries are not only respected but valued, because they create the space for individuality to coexist with connection. Growth-supportive relationships also include a balance of encouragement and challenge. They celebrate your progress while holding you accountable to your potential. The people who truly support your growth will not simply tell you what you want to hear. They will speak truth with compassion, helping you see blind spots and make better choices. Nurturing these kinds of relationships requires reciprocity. You cannot expect others to provide what you are unwilling to offer. Be the kind of friend, partner, or colleague who listens deeply, offers honest feedback with kindness, and celebrates others' growth without envy. Emotional generosity, giving empathy, patience, and understanding strengthens trust and deepens connection. But reciprocity also means maintaining balance. When a relationship becomes one-sided, where you give far more than you receive, it begins to erode your energy. Healthy connection thrives on mutual investment, not obligation. Boundaries play an essential role in protecting your growth. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away. It's about defining the conditions under which connection can be healthy and sustainable. It involves communicating your needs clearly and consistently without guilt. You might need to limit contact with someone who constantly criticizes your choices or refuses to respect your time. You might decide to step back from relationships centered on negativity or gossip. Boundaries are acts of self-respect that preserve your emotional clarity and make space for more nourishing connections to enter your life. At the same time, supporting your own growth through relationships means learning to navigate conflict with maturity. Disagreements are inevitable, but how you handle them determines whether they become destructive or developmental. Approach conflict as an opportunity to understand rather than to win. Listen to the other person's perspective. Express your own feelings without blame and look for common ground. When both parties focus on resolution instead of retaliation, trust deepens. Growth-oriented relationships are not free of friction. They are strengthened by the way both people move through it together. As you evolve, your relationships will evolve too. Some will deepen because they adapt to your new level of awareness, while others may fade because they no longer align with your values. This can be painful, but it's a natural part of growth. Outgrowing certain dynamics doesn't mean you've failed those relationships. It means you've honored your commitment to becoming the most authentic version of yourself. Letting go with gratitude allows both you and the other person the freedom to grow in your own directions. Building new, supportive connections also takes courage. It often means stepping into new communities, seeking mentors, or surrounding yourself with people who inspire you to reach higher. Look for individuals who embody qualities you admire: integrity, resilience, kindness, creativity, and spend time learning from them. Growth accelerates when you're in environments where excellence, curiosity, and authenticity are the norm. These relationships remind you of who you can become and hold you accountable to living that truth. Equally important is the relationship you have with yourself, because it sets the tone for all others. The way you treat yourself, your self-talk, your boundaries, your capacity for forgiveness teaches others how to treat you. When you cultivate self-respect and compassion, you naturally attract people who reflect those same qualities. Conversely, if you tolerate disrespect or neglect your own needs, you signal that such behavior is acceptable. Strengthening your relationship with yourself is the foundation for every healthy connection you build. Relationships thrive on consistent care. Just as you invest time in your personal development, invest time in nurturing the people who matter to you. Express appreciation often. Check in simply to ask how someone is doing, not just when you need something. Celebrate their milestones and support them through setbacks. Small gestures, listening without distraction, remembering details that matter, showing up when it counts, create trust and emotional safety. Over time, these moments build the kind of bond that sustains both people through life's inevitable changes. Ultimately, nurturing relationships that support growth is about creating a network of mutual uplift people who remind you of your potential when you forget it, who hold space for your vulnerability, and who cheer for your evolution instead of fearing it. It's also about being that person for others, contributing to a cycle of encouragement and authenticity that strengthens everyone involved. When your relationships are grounded in respect, honesty, and shared growth, they become more than connections. They become catalysts for transformation. The quality of your life will always reflect the quality of your relationships. Choose them with intention, tend to them with care, and allow them to evolve with you. Growth is not a solitary journey. It's a shared experience woven through the bonds we build and the love we nurture along the way. When you surround yourself with people who see your light and help it shine brighter, you create an ecosystem of growth that empowers not just you, but everyone it touches. Chapter 9. Living with Purpose and Authenticity. Living with purpose and authenticity begins with knowing exactly what matters most to you and then having the courage to structure your life around it. Purpose is not simply about grand achievements or titles. It is about the quiet, steady alignment between your values, your choices, and your daily actions. Authenticity means showing up as your true self, without hiding behind masks to gain approval or fit into expectations that don't belong to you. When the two meet, your life gains a clarity and integrity that no external measure can replace. To uncover your purpose, you must first clarify your core values, the principles that act as your internal compass. These values might include freedom, compassion, creativity, honesty, growth, or contribution. They are deeply personal and often revealed in the moments when you feel most alive or most frustrated. Pay attention to those emotional peaks and valleys. They are signals pointing toward what truly matters. Once you know these guiding principles, decisions become less about guessing and more about choosing what honors those values. Authenticity flows from self-awareness and acceptance. It is the willingness to embrace both your strengths and imperfections while refusing to compromise on who you are for the sake of fitting in. This does not mean stubbornly rejecting feedback or refusing to grow. It means that any change you make is rooted in your own truth, not in fear of judgment or the pressure to conform. When you act authentically, your words and actions are consistent, and people trust you because they know you are not performing a role, you are living your reality. Living with purpose requires intentional choices. It is easy to drift into habits that keep you busy but disconnected from meaning. To avoid this drift, regularly ask yourself, is this action moving me closer to the life I want to live? Purpose-driven living often involves saying no to paths that look appealing but do not align with your values. It may require letting go of roles, relationships, or routines that keep you tethered to an outdated version of yourself. This pruning process can feel uncomfortable, but it makes room for what truly belongs in your life. One powerful way to anchor both purpose and authenticity is through a personal mission statement, a clear expression of who you are, what you value, and how you choose to contribute to the world. This statement acts as a filter for decisions big and small. When opportunities arise, you can hold them against your mission. Does this align, or does it pull me away from my core? Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to live with consistency and clarity. Authenticity also invites vulnerability. When you are honest about what you believe, need, and feel, you risk disagreement or rejection, but you also create the possibility for deeper connection and respect. Vulnerability communicates that you value truth over image, and it encourages others to do the same. In relationships, this kind of openness builds trust. In work, it fosters collaboration. In personal growth, it dismantles the false narratives that limit you. Purpose is not static, it evolves as you do. The version of purpose that drives you today may shift as your experiences deepen and your perspective widens. Authenticity ensures that these shifts are genuine rather than reactive to external pressure. By revisiting your values regularly and adjusting your mission as needed, you keep your path aligned with who you are becoming rather than who you once were. Living with purpose and authenticity is not about perfection. There will be moments when you act out of fear instead of conviction, or when you compromise your truth for convenience. What matters is noticing those moments quickly, forgiving yourself without self-punishment, and returning to alignment as soon as possible. Each return strengthens your commitment and makes it easier to choose integrity over impulse. When your daily actions reflect both your deepest values and your truest self, life feels less like a series of obligations and more like a deliberate creation. Success is no longer defined by external approval, but by the quiet satisfaction of knowing that who you are on the inside matches how you live on the outside. Together, they create a life that is not just lived, but lived fully, with meaning, courage, and unwavering truth. Chapter 10. Sustaining Growth and Embracing Change. Growth doesn't end when you reach a goal, adopt a new habit, or overcome a challenge. In fact, that's often when the real work begins, learning how to sustain progress while continuing to evolve. Self-improvement is not a project with a finish line. It's a lifelong process of refinement, reflection, and renewal. The person you become through growth will keep encountering new circumstances, and each phase of life will ask different things of you. Sustaining growth means embracing this continual evolution with openness rather than resistance. One of the most important ways to maintain personal growth is through consistent self-reflection. Without pausing to assess where you are, it's easy to slip into autopilot and lose the intention that fueled your earlier progress. Set aside regular time, whether weekly, monthly, or quarterly, to reflect on your actions, experiences, and goals. Ask yourself, what have I learned recently? What's working well? What feels misaligned or stagnant? Reflection keeps you connected to your why and helps you adjust your path before frustration or burnout sets in. It transforms growth from a reaction to life's changes into a proactive practice of self-awareness. As you continue evolving, adaptability becomes your greatest ally. Change is inevitable. Careers shift, relationships transform, priorities realign. Many people resist change because it threatens the comfort of familiarity, but resisting it only amplifies discomfort. Instead, view change as a natural partner to growth. Each transition, whether chosen or unexpected, offers lessons that deepen your understanding of yourself. When you meet change with curiosity rather than fear, you give yourself permission to expand beyond what once defined you. Flexibility doesn't mean losing direction. It means staying balanced as you navigate new terrain. To sustain growth, it's also vital to revisit and refresh your goals. The objectives that once inspired you may no longer reflect your evolving values or circumstances. Periodically revising your goals ensures that your efforts remain meaningful and aligned with who you are becoming. Ask, does this still matter to me? Am I pursuing this out of genuine passion or out of habit? Letting go of outdated goals isn't failure, it's wisdom. It frees your energy for pursuits that match your current stage of life and keeps your growth relevant and fulfilling. Another key element of long-term growth is developing systems that support consistency. Motivation naturally fluctuates, but systems sustain momentum. Whether it's a morning routine, a regular journaling habit, or a structured review of your progress, systems create stability amid the unpredictability of life. They anchor your intentions in daily practice so that even when enthusiasm wanes, your habits carry you forward. Over time, these small systems become part of your identity, making growth less about effort and more about rhythm. Just as important as systems are periods of rest and renewal. Continuous effort without restoration leads to exhaustion, and exhaustion erodes progress. Growth requires cycles, periods of expansion followed by moments of reflection and recovery. Give yourself space to pause, celebrate, and breathe. Rest is not regression. It's preparation for the next phase of development. When you honor your need for balance, you protect your capacity to keep evolving sustainably. Sustaining growth also means learning to embrace uncertainty. The more you grow, the more you realize how much remains unknown. This awareness can be unsettling, but it's also liberating. It means you are living fully engaged in a process that is dynamic and alive. Instead of seeking control over every outcome, focus on building trust in yourself. You have navigated change before, and you can do it again. Confidence in your adaptability will give you the courage to explore new opportunities, take calculated risks, and reinvent yourself when necessary. Throughout this journey, gratitude serves as a grounding force. It's easy to focus solely on what's next and forget how far you've come. Regularly acknowledging your progress, no matter how small, reinforces your sense of purpose and keeps you motivated. Gratitude transforms growth from a chase for improvement into an appreciation of evolution. It reminds you that the person you are today is the result of countless choices, lessons, and moments of courage, and that alone is worth celebrating. One of the paradoxes of personal growth is that the more you change, the more you must also return to your core. Sustained growth isn't about constantly reinventing yourself from scratch. It's about deepening your alignment with your values as you evolve. As life expands, stay connected to what grounds you, your principles, your relationships, your sense of meaning. These anchors ensure that even as circumstances shift, you remain centered in who you are. Finally, remember that sustaining growth and embracing change is not a solitary endeavor. Surround yourself with people who understand your journey, who challenge you with compassion, and who celebrate your evolution without fear or envy. Shared growth amplifies strength. When you engage with communities that value authenticity and progress, you create an environment that nurtures your ongoing transformation. Life will continue to test your flexibility, patience, and vision. Some seasons will call for action, others for stillness. There will be times when growth feels exhilarating, and times when it feels uncertain or slow. Through it all, hold on to one truth. You are not meant to remain the same. Each experience, every success, setback, and shift invites you to become a fuller, wiser version of yourself. Sustaining growth is not about clinging to who you've been, but about trusting the unfolding of who you are becoming. When you learn to see change not as something to fear, but as something to embrace, you free yourself to live with resilience, curiosity, and grace. Growth, after all, is not a destination. It's a lifelong practice, a way of moving through the world with openness, courage, and an unwavering belief in your capacity to keep becoming better, one day at a time. Conclusion. Growth is not a single moment of achievement. It is a continual weaving of choices, habits, and perspectives that shape who you become over time. Every insight you've explored here, from building self-awareness to sustaining change, exists to remind you that transformation is not reserved for extraordinary circumstances. It is built in ordinary days through the way you respond to challenges, nurture relationships, honor your values, and adapt to life's inevitable shifts. You now hold the tools to move forward with intention, the ability to clarify your motivations, set goals that truly matter, create habits that serve you, protect your time and energy, connect deeply with others, and live aligned with your authentic self. These are not isolated skills. They work together, reinforcing each other to create a life that feels both purposeful and possible. The more consistently you apply them, the more they become part of your identity. The journey does not end here. The person you are today is already different from the one who began reading these pages. And tomorrow, you will have the chance to evolve again. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt, but there will also be victories, some small and quiet, others profound and life-changing. Both are worth noticing. Both are part of becoming. Every day is an invitation to choose courage over comfort, to respond with curiosity instead of fear, to lean into your values even when it's inconvenient, to take one small step toward the future you envision. You do not need perfection to create change. You need presence, persistence, and the willingness to keep showing up for yourself. As you leave this book behind and return to the rhythm of your life, Carry with you the truth that self-improvement is not a destination but a way of living. It is the art of meeting each day as an opportunity to invest in who you are becoming. Trust in your capacity to adapt. Believe in your ability to grow. And remember, every deliberate choice you make, no matter how simple, shapes the path ahead. Your next version is already waiting for you. Step into it with intention and keep building better selves every day.